I don't know, is this working just a little bit? Okay, bear with us just a little bit longer. We're about ready to get going. I see it's right at 6 o'clock. So we're just getting a couple of technical things dialed in, and we'll be ready to go. And Johnny, when you're ready, just give me the thumbs up, and we'll officially start. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Michael McCormick, the proud superintendent of the Val Verde Unified School District. Thank you for coming out tonight. We've got some amazing performances lined up for you tonight. I think we've got something from high school, something from middle school, and something from elementary school for you. So parents, community members, thank you for being here. And we also have some community information we wanted to share with you a little bit later on in the program. But for right now, one of the ways that you can see that the school district has really listened to the community and put financial and human resources behind one of the things that the community desired, which was a real focus on our visual and performing arts. And so without further ado, I'd like to invite to the stage Miss Allison Huntsman, who's a teacher on special assignment with us and oversees all of our visual and performing arts programs. Please join me with a round of applause as we welcome Ms. Huntsman to the stage.
Thank you so much. We have some really exciting performances for you this evening, and starting us off is the Citrus Hill High School Jazz Band under the direction of Mr. Andy Roach. Give him a round of applause. All right, next performance ensemble features 4th and 5th graders from Mead Valley School, as well as Manuel L Real Elementary School, and they are under the direction of Miss Rachel Terrell. Give them a hand.
Everything
All right, on to our next performance ensemble. The students you just saw singing in 1 or 2 years will be at Tomas Rivera Middle School, and they'll have the opportunity to be a part of this amazing program. This is Tomas Rivera Middle School's choir. It's comprised of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and it's under the direction of Mrs. Robin Mosley. Give them a hand, please.
Goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift, the barefoot king composing hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Oh, I was just going to say we have 77 choir members at Tomas. That we just all have the flu and are sick, so I think they did a great job. This is just a skeleton, but thank you guys for coming out. Good job.
performance group of the evening. So when those Tomas Rivera Middle School choral students move on to high school, they will have the opportunity to be in the Citrus Hill Choir program. This is the Citrus Hill High School Chamber Choir under the direction of Dr. Laura Cook.
Okay, we'll take just a few moments to kind of reset the stage, and I think we have the screen coming down behind me. We really appreciate you being here tonight, and I want to ask you again to join me in a round of applause for all of our performing arts tonight that you saw. Thank you. And one of the things that's been so helpful for us is to have this new position of teacher on special assignment for overseeing all of our visual and performing arts in the district. I think it's making a big difference. We've had a huge commitment to elementary music. We've got bands and choirs happening at elementary, band and choir at middle school, full complement of band and choir at the high schools as well. And we appreciate your support of that. That's something that we think is really good for our students to get engaged with. So we've got a presentation for you tonight, and we're going to ask for some of your input. Again, we appreciate you being here. And I understand that we've got carne asada at the end. Am I right on that? Okay, so hurry up and get through the presentation because we're hungry. Okay, sorry about that. So at this time, I'd like to invite to the stage Mr. Garrick Owen. He's our coordinator of state and federal programs. And do you have a different microphone system? You do. Okay, fantastic. Because this one we got kind of a funky connection here. But anyways, we've got some information we want to share with you. And then we also are going to invite you to participate in a survey with us to provide some additional input based on what you've heard tonight. So, without any further ado, Mr. Owen, take it away.
Now, here we go. I could just yell. Welcome everybody to LCAP community.
No, do this. Testing 1, 2. Just hold the microphone part and stand still. Don't breathe. Don't breathe. As long as you're doing that, it's going to be perfect. Just hold it delicately.
Can you tell that our superintendent was once a radio DJ? He's a pro. So yes, welcome. I feel like we brought you in with carne asada and kids, and now you get me. For those of you who don't know who I am, I have been coordinator of state and federal programs now for 4 years. I oversee the LCAP process here in the district, which has a lot to do with programs like the visual and performing arts, as well as adding more career technical education and things like that to the students' schedules. If you have been with us before, welcome back. I doubt you were, because we've never had this many people out for our meetings. So thank you for coming. First of all, acronyms. Talk about LCFF and LCAP. The LCAP and the LCFF. Local Control Funding Formula is how the state has decided to change up how they send money to the school districts. And that a little bit later. And the LCAP is what most of the time we refer to. That's the plan that, with the input of the community, we've written. We've had an LCAP now for 4 years. We're really proud of our accomplishments with the plan and being able to implement the plan. And so at this point, we're kind of just refining those actions, making them better, looking to make sure we get the most out of everything. So in the old system, we had what's called base revenue, and we had one big pot of money and a lot of little pots of money. Each one of those pots of money was for things like busing or gate program or I like to joke left-handed pencils, but each little pot of money was a very specific thing that it paid for, and it was never enough to pay for the entire thing. Try this. And now under the new system, we have, oh, hello. Yay, Johnny on the spot. So under the new system, we actually have taken all these pots of money and put them into just 3 pots, which makes it much simpler for the district. And with that, the state said, but we need you to go out to your parents, your community, your teachers, your students, and find out what it is that you've been doing right and what it is that you could do better. And write these plans and share with the community so that they know where the money's going. And so that's what tonight's about. Anytime you give money to your son or daughter, I'm sure, especially the middle school, high school, they go to the mall, right? You give them some money, you expect them to buy the shoes or buy their lunch, right? You have expectations on what they're supposed to use that money for. The state's the same way. They gave us the money, they said, do what you need to do, but make sure that you're still paying attention to student achievement. Of course, the students need to achieve This old system, this was the only thing we paid attention to, the only thing the state talked about. And so that's a big shift now. They said, oh, you should make sure that students are engaged. This is talking about graduating. So before the state would say, make sure they do well on the test, and they weren't looking at graduation. Here in the district, we've been looking at graduation for 7 to 10 years about making sure that our students actually finish and trying to raise that. So we'll look at that later. Parent involvement. It's always important that we build the capacity of our parents so that they can participate as equals in the education, so that they know all the lingo or they know what's going on. They know what the homework is. They know why the kids are doing the homework. They know why kids need to come to school. All of those kinds of things. More importantly, they know their children. Have them come tell you what their children need. And so we've looked at that a lot in the past 4 years. Course access, again, the state told us we were supposed to do math and English. Math and English, guess what we did? We did math and English. So choir, band at the elementary school, choir at the middle school. Those kinds of programs died out when the money went away and the emphasis was only on test scores. And so bringing those kinds of things back for the high school students, bringing back career technical education, those classes that lead to jobs. They also brought new standards. With those new standards, they said, oh, you should use some of this money to make sure that you're addressing those, that the new things that we're telling you the students need to know, you should do something about that. Make sure your community knows about them, make sure your teachers are trained, make sure the students know why they're learning. So we've been working on that. Then they said basic services. Basic services, do you have textbooks? Do you have credentialed teachers? We've never had a problem in our district. Some of these things have been systemic throughout the state, but our district's always been very good about having basic services, good facilities, things like that. Climate at the school. This mainly revolves around things like bullying, suspensions, discipline, school connectedness. If a child stays after school and is in a choir or on a sports team, they're more likely to feel like school is a great place and want to be there more often. And so if we can build that school climate where the teachers and the students have great relationships, student outcomes will improve. And then they said, oh, and then there's a few things that you can decide what you want to do, right? So take a nickel and do something that you want to do. Like I said, a big part of the state giving us the money and the freedom was making sure that we went to all types of groups, everybody who had a stake in the education of our students, and made sure that we got input on what they needed when our students graduate. So we go out to community, businesses, we talk to them, what kinds of things are you looking for in your employees when they graduate? We talk to our teachers, all of our staff that help support the schools, and then, of course, all our different parent groups that we talk to. If you're in any one of these groups at your site, there's a good chance you'll see me again. Yay! I'll make the roadshow over the next few months to as many sites as I can. Transparency, making sure that everybody knows the process of the plan and what's going on with the plan, right? Having these types of input sessions, getting as much feedback from our surveys as possible, being out at the sites, talking to parents, teachers, students. Every year we talk to all of our middle school and high school students to try and get their input on what's going on in the district. Write the plan, show the plan, come back and revise it if needed. It does get improved in June. If you want to go to an exciting event, June board meeting, we have 2 of them, one where the plan is reviewed and then one later on where it's actually approved. We have 4 goals in our plan. First one is college and career ready. Makes sense. Kids, when they graduate, should be ready to go on to post-secondary or to a career of their choice. And so we've put a lot of work behind that. Goal 2, this was something that was new for our district. We hadn't put a lot of resources behind our parent engagement. Now we have. We have a full family engagement center. They do courses. They do connections with outside organizations, so they've brought in the fresh food RV that comes in to the different sites once a week. It stops by the district office. I've stopped by. It's excellent. Bring the grocery store to me. It's better than anything. Next thing, school climate. This was something that we needed to work on. It was apparent as soon as we started looking at this kind of data around suspensions that this was where we needed to put a lot of attention as well. And then modernizing our facilities. If you're an elementary parent and this is your first kid in the district, you might not know, but Val Verde has always been one of the nicest districts for school facilities. We've always had great facilities. There was a time in the last 5 to 10 years where those things were getting run down because of the Great Recession, funding dried up, the state borrowed the money from us, that was fun, and is now just paying that back. So there was a time when the facilities started to get a little less than ideal, but over the last 4 years, our facilities and our maintenance and operations people have been doing tons of work to get everything up and running. We have one of the best records when it comes to facilities when they come in and check to make sure the electrical is all working, the ceiling tiles are all correct and not water damaged, and we're very proud of that. Family Engagement Center. If you don't know our family engagement staff at the district office, they have a little corner building. They put on computer classes. They'll teach you about that Chromebook that your kids brought home, how to work a Google Doc, how to share it with your student. They'll go through getting an email address. Then they've had now, so many parents go through it, they have second level classes where they start working with the actual Word and PowerPoint and Excel if you want some of that knowledge as well. They do no-cost fingerprinting. So in the past, one of the things we heard when we first started was parents weren't volunteering or helping out at school because they had to pay for fingerprints. So one of the first things we did was make sure that we took that barrier away from engaging with the schools. Child supervision, almost all of their events have some sort of child supervision provided so that you can bring your little ones and feel free. I'm always okay with the kids talking and whatever. I have 2 kids of my own, and so I'm used to it. African American Success Committee and advisory councils at all of our school sites to help bring in that community and engage them more fully. Some of the work that we've been doing in order to make sure that all of our students and families are served, and then making sure that our special ed department had bilingual talent in their office so that IEPs were being translated in a more timely manner. Also, the bilingual staff at all the schools, that the receptionist, again, for those of you who haven't been in the district that long, the receptionist at the elementary school was gone until 4 years ago. We brought those back, those positions. So there was somebody always in the front able to meet our parents and help them out. A lot of the stuff we've been doing, like I said, mentioned a lot tonight, is enriching experiences. Making sure that students don't just come to school and look at a textbook or listen to their teacher talk. STEAM is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And so all of our VAPA fits into there, visual and performing arts. I know, I use too many acronyms. We still fund a GATE program per se. The funds are not from the state as a GATE program, but we heard from parents that they wanted that. And then advancement via individual determination. So that's a middle school and high school program that we've now brought to the elementary schools to help students learn how to learn, right? Be better note takers. Think about your thinking. Reading, writing, collaborating is all tied up in the AVID program. Turns out having all these programs and all this money is more than we could do as a district office and as a school district when we first started. So we've added a STEAM coordinator, Doug Henderson. He helps out with the science, the technology, engineering, arts, math. And then we used to have another gentleman in there, and he said, look, I love this job, I love the arts, but we really need somebody who's dedicated to that. And so that's why we brought in Allison this year. You can see we do much more with our choirs and our bands, and even our art programs are blossoming under her direction. So we're really excited to have her, bringing robotics, all kinds of technology again. The music program, you guys all know. Foreign language. One of the things we heard from students the first time is, hey, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Owen, did you know the only foreign language we can take at Citrus Hill or Rancho is Spanish? And we said, yes. Well, it'd be really neat if we could learn a different language. And so we took that to heart. We added American Sign Language and Mandarin. And then again, the career technical education. These are those classes that get the kids hands-on experience, sometimes a certificate or an internship that allows them to go out after high school and work. Dual language immersion is a program at Triple Crown Elementary. It's phenomenal. What that is students in kindergarten have Spanish instruction. Whether their home language is Spanish or English, they come to school and learn Spanish at kindergarten. So by the end of the kindergarten year, they're reading, writing, speaking Spanish. And that continues into first grade, second grade. Next year, we'll be adding our third grade class. We're so excited about that. It'll continue, it build out, fourth, fifth, it goes into middle school and then high school. If anybody's interested in that, again, that's at Triple Crown Elementary School. And then the Chromebooks. Everybody's got a Chromebook now. We took 4 years. We looked around. Other districts did that 4 years ago. They just handed them out, iPads, Chromebooks. We took 4 years to kind of survey the landscape and see how that would really work. We still have some stumbling blocks, but we feel like we've done a really good job of implementing that. Reading by third grade. This is something that our board and all of our staff are committed to. If a student is reading on grade level in third grade, they're 90% chance of graduating high school. It goes up phenomenal. If they're a struggling reader in third grade, there's a really good chance they won't finish high school. And so we wanted to make sure that we put that early investment. Instead of trying to remediate at the end, we want to put that investment at the beginning, make sure everybody's reading. So we have summer camps, we have after-school programs, we have the iStation, part of the Chromebooks going home, all of that. Here's some career technical education. Val Verde High School has a welding program. All of our schools now have video production at the high school. All of our elementaries now have their gardens, right? How much better would it be to learn about science and life if you got to go outside and see it instead of sitting in a classroom looking at a picture? Our bands. We've got our fifth grade bands, fourth grade bands now. Our theater program is doing awesome, especially here at Citrus Hill. All of our middle school bands now are looking like high school bands. They're going to more and more parades, which has only been allowed because we have this extra funding and we've put it towards these programs. AVID, again, is a huge initiative across the district. It runs kindergarten through 12th grade. Making sure that students feel safe at school, right? All of that stuff is great. It makes them excited about school, but sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes there's other things happening in a student's life. They don't spend all day with us. They spend a lot of their day with us, but not all of their day. So we want to make sure that we support those students, both with their lives here at school and at home. We've added the anti-bullying prevention, or the bullying prevention program, Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports, PBIS. That has all about how to behave, making sure that teachers and students are on the same page. Intervention counselors at the high school. This has been a huge thing that we've implemented in the last 2 years, which is the therapists at the elementary schools. So now there's a mental health specialist at the elementary schools to help kids who are having problems with family, with students, with teachers, whatever it might be. We have that for them as a support. Sports programs at the middle school to make sure that those students have a reason. Not all kids come to school to learn. Some of them come to play sports and hang out with friends, right? Well, if we can tie that back to their classes by having it at the schools, that's better. BAR program is a program at the high schools to help make sure that students don't drop out. It starts in 9th grade, really focuses the students. And then we've been adding more and more summer extended learning programs for students. Making sure all of our employees are supported. Like I said, Common Core, all new standards we had come out. Making sure our English learners are fully supported and our teachers are supported in that. I think I forgot to mention that these funds in the LCAP all come to our district for one of 3 reasons. Either our students are low income, foster youth, or English learners. For every student that we have that is meets one of those criteria, we get extra funding. And that's what we're talking about tonight, is where does that extra funding go to help make sure that our low-income students, our foster youth, and our English learners are excelling, right? Bringing in after-school sports programs. In a more affluent neighborhood, they might go to another program. They might have the means to travel around the country even, some of these kids. But not all of our students have that. Some students might have an opportunity to go to the private music lessons. Our students don't always have that. And so that's what we heard from the community, and that's why we brought those programs. Supporting the tech. You're going to put out 20,000 Chromebooks, you better make sure we have some teachers that know how to use them and can help other teachers. Math has been a huge focus for our district. The new math standards, we found out real quick that it was a huge shift in the way that math was being taught and assessed, how the students were being expected to tell that they knew it. So we've been working with our teachers through math coaches. Making sure that our foster youth are taken care of as much as possible. There's a lot of things that have been put in place for foster youth lately, and making sure that our staff know about those extra help that they can get. Smarter Balance is that assessment that your students all take in 3rd through 8th grade. Making sure that we know what's on that. And then also our classified staff. Non-teaching staff need support as well. Some staff sees students as much as a teacher. And so making sure that they have the skills and the knowledge about what's going on in the schools to help that out. Well, and then finally, improving facilities. So we added STEAM labs and libraries at all, well, STEAM labs. We basically took over the old computer labs. Now that every student had a computer, we had rooms sitting with computers in them that weren't being used. So we turned those into innovative spaces where students can do all kinds of projects in order to expand their learning and do things that you probably didn't get to go to do. I know I didn't get to do in school. Refurbished all our libraries. Corey Bootsma headed that up, our district librarian. They look phenomenal. It was like a pilot project at Tomas Rivera. That was the first one to get the remodel. And now all of our libraries have been refurbished. All right, on to the data. On to the real fun stuff. So when you walked in and signed in, there was a one-page sheet. If you didn't get it then, you can get it on your way out. It goes through all of the different data points. I will not go through all the data points because it smells like carne asada. But I do want to go over the key ones. So this is our district as a whole. As a whole, these are the things that the state is looking to measure and share with your community. Make sure that they hold you accountable for these things. Chronic absenteeism. Going to school is the best way to learn at school. Hey, imagine that. So chronic absenteeism is defined as missing 10% or more of the school year. That's about 18 days. Students who miss 18 or more days tend to not do well in school. We've been focusing on this with our district for years now. We have one of the lowest rates in the state. Our program has been copied now over and over again. We've spoken at numerous conferences. How did you do that? We put resources, both financial and human resources, behind it. We said that was important. Suspension rate, we have green. So I need to explain these pies. These pies, green is good, blue is better, right? More pieces of pie is always better. Although I would think if it's empty, then you got to eat all the pie, so maybe that was better. But no, the full pie is better. And then they color-coded it so that it's more visually stunning, but the pie pieces let us print in black and white and save a little money. So suspension, we've been doing better. It's still an area of focus for us in the district, somewhere where we want to do even better. English learner progress, you can see we're at 3 out of 5. We're kind of in the middle there with our English learners, making 1 year's progress each year in learning English. Our graduation rate is phenomenal. Again, statewide model, countywide model, how do you do it? Making sure we have the counseling staff and the teachers that are aware. Our AVID program, our scholars program, all go into improving our grad rate. College and career, they don't give us a color anymore, or yet, same as chronic absenteeism, because we don't have 2 years of data. This is the first year that they've looked at these indicators. So right now we're at 43% of our students who, according to the new state requirements, are qualified or meeting that college or career ready. They're ready to go out into the world. And so obviously this is a place that we want to be at 100%. And we're doing as much as we can lately to make that happen. And then these 2 things at the bottom, the last 2 things would have been in the old system, the only 2 things up here, English language arts and math for grades 3 through 8. So these are the SBAC tests at the end of the year. And you can see we have lots of room for growth there. And we're doing as much training with teachers and trying to help students to understand how the new assessments work. And we hope to see great gains there. So again, the big subgroups that we get the LCAP money: English learners, foster youth, and low income. So our English learners across the board in these same categories are doing okay. They're not doing great. We have been putting more and more resources behind our English language program to make sure that we do right by our English learners. One of the things that we definitely do right for our English learners, though, is reclassify them. So these are when your students in an English language learner program, when they get to the level of enough English proficiency, they do well enough on a test, your recommendation, the teacher's recommendations, they can be what's called reclassified, and they no longer have to take that support class. And once they're reclassified, then they have 4 years of monitoring. We go in and make sure that they're doing well, that they're still succeeding. And you can see, ideally, one student should reclassify about every 5 years, or in 5 years, so about 20%. We're really close to the maximum, the ideal. You can see the state and the county are quite a ways below us, and we feel like we're doing right by them because when they do reclassify, they excel. All of our test data shows that if you've been in the English learner program and you get out, you're gonna be awesome. You probably already are awesome. Here we have our foster youth. This is a group. They have a lot of transiency. We talked about getting to school is one of the most important things you can do. We have 18% of our foster youth who don't make it to school at least 90% of the time. So we're working with them. Suspensions, they get suspended a lot. They have a lot of issues, and we've been putting in, again, intervention counselors and those intervention therapists at the elementary schools to help do things around that. Graduation rate is at 61%. Again, no color because this is the first year we've had foster youth as a subgroup measured and tracked. It's not ideal. It's way better than most school districts, but it's somewhere that, again, we have identified a need and we can grow. College and career. So even though we're getting them graduated, most of the time, truth is that they've been through many schools. Their credits are all over the place. They probably haven't been in a same school for more than for an entire school year. And so they do struggle to graduate with that college and career readiness. But that's not an excuse, and we're not going to be okay with that. Now that it's something that we can track and help them, we'll put all of our might behind that and help those kids. English language arts and math, again, to be expected, but not to be accepted. We won't say, oh, well, you know, it's foster youth. They have a hard time. They're never going to do well. Of course not. we're going to do everything we can to make sure that they succeed. Here we have our low income. So this is our largest group of students. 83% of our students qualify for free or reduced lunch. And they're doing phenomenal by most state and county standards. We have, again, the lowest chronic absenteeism rate. Our suspension rate's pretty low. It was flat last year for our low income, so we didn't get the green. Graduation, they're all graduating. Last year we had 96.3% of our students graduate. From 9th grade to 12th grade, 96% of them are getting out with a high school diploma. College and Career Index, again, something that's new and we're working on. And then we're not hiding it, right? We have lots of work to do here as well. African American subgroup, these students, chronically absent, more than 10% of the population is missing more than 10% of the days. We're working to lower that. It's been a steady decline. We keep seeing progress, and so we're continuing to do the things we've been doing. Suspension rate for African American students, I'll show you in a minute, is much higher than our average student. We've been working on that. Again, it's been going down. It's an area that we need to continue to focus on and improve. Hispanic subgroup, this is our largest demographic. Our most students, 15,000 out of our 20,000 students identify as Hispanic. You can see they all are coming to school, and look what that does. We have low suspension rates. Oh, now they're at school all the time. They're graduating. We're getting them out at about the same college and career readiness index level. So again, an area of focus. And these last three, you can see over and over, area of focus. You know what we're going to be doing in the next couple of years. Our white subgroup, our smallest large subgroup. We have 12% of our students missing school more than 10% of the time, being suspended kind of in the middle. Grad rate is great. We make sure everybody graduates. College and career ready is a little higher than our average, and they're doing a little bit better on the English test, but still could do much better. Students with disabilities, this is a group that has lots of resources behind it, but can always use more. These are our special ed students. They miss quite a bit of school. They're suspended at a higher rate than our other subgroups, which their graduation rate isn't as high as other subgroups, but what many of them do is use a 5th year to actually finish school. So they will graduate, but it doesn't count because they did it in 5 years instead of 4 years. We also have a Bridges to Adulthood program where they can go till they're 21 for our severely handicapped. And that teaches them a lot of job skills and gets them ready for life after school. Our English language arts and math, again, area of growth. Here's our suspension rate data. Again, bringing it out, not trying to hide things. This is 3 years of data. So African American subgroup is the red. Students with disabilities is this light blue. And then for the first time, we have our foster youth data. You can see those are our 3 subgroups that we need to work on. We have seen a decline, and so we're going to continue with the progress that we've been making and hope to make good on that. Graduation rate, our biggest success. Highest in the county, highest in all of Riverside County this year. We've been teetering around 2nd, 3rd, many years. Corona, Norco, Temecula usually beat us by like 0.5%. But this year, we have the highest graduation rate. The state and the county don't have theirs yet, but something that we're very proud of, right? Students at Citrus, Rancho, Orange Vista, hopefully. I'm sure there's all kinds of good stuff going on over there as well. They make it out of school with a high school diploma. They're engaged. They find things to do at school. They find reasons to be at school and to finish, and we're really proud of that. What we're also very proud of is that our subgroups are all doing well. So again, African American, no problem. They're one of the highest, right? Our Hispanic subgroups right there as well, 96%. We do have some work to do with English learners. We just started a new program this year in order to help that over at Val Verde High School. What was happening is students come in their senior year or their 11th grade year. They don't have any units, and they just have to go to school until they're 18 and get out of there. And so what we've put together is an accelerated program for those students in order to make sure that they have an opportunity to graduate rather than just leaving school when they're 18 and looking for a job. Foster youth, again, trying to find ways to help them graduate. Dropout rate, you'll see, obviously, if we're graduating them, they're not dropping out. It's really impressive. I like that slide. So when you hear around the state, around the county, oh, we got to keep the kids, we got to make sure they graduate, not dropping out. Val Verde has made sure that that is not happening. You can see it wasn't something we just started. We could take this back even a few more years and see that that decline has been there. A through G. For those of you who are middle school and elementary school and not in Avid, you might not know about A through G yet. These are the courses you have to take in order to be ready for university in California. Cal State's or UCR, Cal State San Marcos, all those schools, Berkeley, UCLA. And so we have 52% of our students graduating ready to go to college as far as their course requirements. Attendance rates, phenomenal. Let's eat. No. So for those of you at home, we are live streaming this. You can go watch it on Facebook or YouTube. If you didn't get enough of it tonight, you can watch it again. If you're watching it at home right now, there's links down at the bottom. This is what my daughter does when she makes a YouTube video. So right? There's links down at the bottom to take the survey. For those of you here in the room, I'll put that up just a minute. My contact information, again, I'm Garrick Owen. My email address, my phone number, anytime you want to talk. If you have a parent group you want me to come see, I would love to come out and talk to you. Whew. Yeah. So to simplify things,